Every morning, while millions wake up and reach for their phones, the Hadza look down at fresh tracks on the ground. With no food delivery apps or modern transport, they carry bows into the savannah, following animal trails and finding food and water through knowledge passed down for generations. These two worlds coexist in the 21st century, but move at entirely different rhythms. The Hadza way of life is special not because it stands outside progress, but because it preserves a living memory of humanity's ancient journey of survival. A Hadza hunt always begins by choosing the right arrow. The hunter lifts each one, checking the straightness of the wooden shaft, the sharpness of the tip, and its balance in flight. For birds and small animals, he selects a light arrow for speed and accuracy. When larger animals may appear, he prepares stronger arrows coated with poison extracted from forest plants. The poison does not stop the animal immediately, but gradually weakens it. This allows the hunters to avoid getting too close to a frightened and dangerous animal. The carefully prepared arrows soon become necessary when the Hadza reach a shallow water source. Ahead, a large hippo suddenly steps from the reeds, blocks the path, and keeps its eyes fixed on them. Knowing its strength, the hunters slow down and maintain their distance. However, the hippo continues moving closer. The men raise their bows, draw the strings, and release an arrow that strikes its side. Startled by the impact, the animal stops, turns, and quickly retreats. The group waits until it is far away before continuing the journey. Deeper in the forest, the Hadza notice familiar signs on the ground: deep hoof prints, fresh droppings, and flattened grass. A quick look tells them that a wild boar has been feeding nearby. They immediately slow down and move against the wind so their scent will not reach it. Behind a low bush, the boar is digging through soft soil for roots. The lead hunter slowly raises his bow, waits for the animal to turn sideways, and releases an arrow. The accurate shot sends it racing into the forest. The hunters follow at once, tracking broken grass and hoof prints. Finally, they find the exhausted animal and collect their catch together. As the tired hunters return to camp, everyone quickly gathers around the day's catch. The meat is divided into portions. Some pieces are placed on branches to roast, while others cook slowly beside the fire. The Hadza use almost every part of the animal because they know that food is never easily obtained. No one asks who struck it first. Once the prey reaches camp, it immediately becomes communal food. Children, older people, women, those who stayed behind, and even the dogs that join the hunt all receive a full share. As soon as the meal ends, the Hadza women begin thinking about the next day. They leave camp and cross cracked ground in search of food that will give the hunters enough strength in the morning. Moving through the dry landscape, they carefully study every plant growing among sand and stone. From the shape of a leaf, the color of a stem, or a small crack in the soil, they can tell whether starchy wild tubers are hidden below. Once the right spot is found, one woman pushes a digging stick deep into the earth while the others remove the soil. Soon, a large tuber appears. They brush it clean, taste part of it, and carefully gather the rest to carry back to camp. Looking at Hadza life, we see not only traces of a distant past, but also a part of our own history. Before the modern world, humans found food in nature and relied on their communities to overcome hardship. The Hadza continue to preserve that connection today. Their greatest treasure may not be an ancient way of life, but their bond with the land, the people around them, and life's simplest yet most essential needs. Tanzania is home to an ancient tribe that has lived there for tens of thousands of years without electricity, without participating in a modern market-based economy, and without viewing land ownership the way most of us do today. To them, the forest is not simply a resource. It is their home and a living memory passed down through generations. The forest not only provides food, but also teaches people how to observe, adapt, and survive. Every trail winding through the trees carries the footsteps of countless generations who have quietly and steadily traveled across this land. As they move deeper into the forest, one hunter suddenly hears a faint sound coming from the canopy above. Looking more closely, he notices branches gently shaking and fresh scratch marks on the bark. These signs reveal that a bush baby is hiding among the thick leaves. The Hadzabe know that this small animal is an agile climber, capable of making long leaps and nearly disappearing into the darkness. They immediately slow down, remain silent, and spread out to watch from different directions. When the animal moves onto a lower branch and exposes itself, one hunter quickly raises his bow. The arrow strikes before the bush baby can leap into another tree. The hunter carefully retrieves the prey and continues the journey. Continuing the hunt, the men discover fresh wolf tracks in the soft ground. The prints lead toward an area of low brush, suggesting that the animal passed through only moments earlier. The group quietly moves forward while carefully checking the wind to avoid being detected. Once the distance is right, one hunter slowly raises his bow. The arrow leaves the string and strikes the animal. Although hit, the wolf immediately runs into the tall grass. Knowing the poison will take effect gradually, the Hadzabe patiently follow its path instead of rushing after it. After covering some distance, the animal begins to weaken in the grass, and the hunters quickly move closer. However, bringing down prey on the savanna does not mean the danger is over. The scent of the animal and the sounds of the hunt can attract other predators. When a lion appears nearby, the atmosphere changes immediately. The Hadzabe do not panic. They keep their distance, work together, and closely watch every movement of the lion to protect the food they worked so hard to obtain. This is not reckless behavior, but a decision shaped by the need to survive. To them, it is not a battle between humans and wild animals, but an encounter between two predators sharing the same land. After a long day of searching for food, everyone returns to camp with the results of their hard work. The animals are cleaned and divided among the families. No written rules are needed because sharing has long been part of their way of life. Dinner is also a time when generations gather together to exchange hunting experiences and lessons about survival. While many societies measure wealth by the possessions people accumulate, the Hadzabe believe true wealth lies in the ability to share with others. When dinner ends, singing and dancing begin. Laughter and conversation fill the air around the fire, bringing another long day on the savanna to a close. Their lives may be simple, but within that simplicity there is genuine joy. Although they lack many modern comforts, the Hadzabe possess treasures of enormous value. Strong community bonds, deep respect for nature, and happiness found in life's simplest moments. Perhaps it is the songs sung around the fire at sunset that have helped this small community endure for centuries. They remind us that happiness may not be found in what we own, but in the people with whom we share our lives at the end of each day.
In the harsh wilderness of Tanzania, Hadzabe hunters are setting out on a dangerous journey of survival, where every decision can affect the safety of the entire group. Today, their targets are not only aggressive, fast-moving baboons that are difficult to approach, but also a powerful lion hiding among the thick grass. As the first rays of sunlight break through the silent forest, they prepare for the expedition by applying fresh poison to their arrowheads and carefully checking their bows. The serious expressions on their faces reveal that there is no room for carelessness, because in the wild, only those who prepare thoroughly and act at the right moment can return safely. In the mysterious silence of the forest, the real challenge begins for the Hadzabe hunters. Their sharp eyes continuously scan the ground for baboon tracks while their ears remain alert to every faint sound coming from the bushes. With each passing second, the tension grows, because tracking a troop of baboons through dense woodland is always filled with danger. They understand that even the slightest noise can alert the animals. For that reason, the group stays calm, limits every movement, and watches each trembling leaf with intense focus. Drawing on years of experience, they quickly recognize the faint signs hidden across the forest floor. Suddenly, when they spot a troop of baboons, the hunters immediately freeze. One small mistake at this moment could place the entire group in danger. The younger hunters quietly look toward the elders and wait for a signal. Then the group slowly moves forward, gliding like shadows until they reach a favorable position. They steady themselves, lock their eyes on the target, and place their arrows on the bowstrings at the same time. This is more than a hunt. It is a search for food that will help sustain the entire tribe. After the difficult baboon hunt, the Hadzabe hunters are exhausted, yet they continue deeper into the wilderness. This time, Their target is a lion hiding among the thick grass. Fresh, oversized tracks in the soil reveal that the animal is very close. The group immediately lowers their bodies, remains silent, and carefully advances. Facing a powerful predator like a lion demands calm nerves, experience, and perfect coordination, because one poorly timed move could place everyone in serious danger. The cooking begins over a bed of glowing coals. Using skills refined over many years, the Hadzabe hunters place each piece of meat over the flames, and before long, a rich aroma spreads through the air. There are no elaborate seasonings here, only the natural flavor of the meat, the heat of the charcoal, and the smoky scent of the wilderness. This simple meal is enough to ease the exhaustion of a long day. The meat sizzling over the coals is a well-earned reward for the group's patience and effort. At last, the moment the Hadzabe hunters have been waiting for arrives. The meat is fully cooked and ready to be eaten. With the first bite, the exhaustion, tension, and fear carried throughout the journey begin to fade away. This is more than a meal. It is a moment when the entire group gathers to share the rewards of a difficult expedition. Every bite reflects their courage, unity, and ancient connection to this land. The peaceful expressions on their faces as they eat in silence show that today's journey was successful and that the tribe's struggle for survival will continue. The Hadzabe diet comes entirely from nature. Their food does not go through complicated processing and mainly consists of what the land and forest provide. Freshly hunted meat, pure wild honey, roots, and wild berries are the foods that help them maintain their health and endurance in such a harsh environment.
Amid the arid savanna and scrub forest surrounding Lake Eyasi in northern Tanzania, the Hadza people continue to preserve a hunter-gatherer lifestyle that has remained largely unchanged for thousands of years. Every morning, as the first light of dawn appears, the men set out carrying bows and arrows, while the women and children search for wild roots, fruits, and honey. in the Hadzabe world. Every journey has a potential to become a confrontation with some of Africa's most dangerous animals. Among them, crocodiles and lions stand as the greatest challenges, demanding courage, experience, and flawless teamwork. During the dry season, when many streams run dry, animals gather around the remaining water holes to drink. This is also when crocodiles become more active in ambush, lying motionless beneath the surface for hours as they wait for unsuspecting prey. The Hadzabe understand these habits well and carefully study every sign before approaching the water's edge. They identify places where crocodiles are likely hiding by spotting slide marks in the mud, long tail drags, or flocks of water birds suddenly scattering into the air. To them, a single careless step can turn a hunter into prey. Before every hunt, the men gather to inspect their bows, sharpen their arrowheads, and prepare a layer of plant-derived poison for their arrows. Rather than confronting crocodiles in the water, they patiently wait for the right moment, when a reptile crawls onto the bank to bask in the sun or rest near the shoreline. A well-placed arrow will gradually weaken the crocodile. However, the hunt truly begins only after the first shot. The animal often plunges back into the water or thrashes violently, forcing the entire group to remain calm and track it for hours before making their final approach. Success brings not only a valuable source of meat, but also durable hide that can be used for many purposes in everyday life. Yet crocodiles have never been the only danger. Across the vast grasslands, lions constantly follow herds of antelope, zebras, and wild boars. At times, the very animals the Hadzabe have worked so hard to hunt quickly attract the attention of Africa's top predators. By watching vultures circling overhead or hearing hyenas calling in the distance, the hunters can often tell that lions are nearby. They immediately change direction, avoiding unnecessary encounters while looking for opportunities to reach the remains of a kill if conditions allow. There are times when an entire group must face a pride of lions guarding its prey. No one recklessly rushes into attack. Instead, they stand shoulder to shoulder at a safe distance, constantly making loud noises by shouting, striking their bows against tree trunks, and moving in perfect coordination. Their calmness and unity can sometimes persuade the lions to retreat, especially when the animals are already full and unwilling to risk injury. Even if the hunters recover only the leftover meat, it remains an invaluable source of nourishment for the entire community during times of food scarcity. When the hunt comes to an end, Everyone works together to carry the day's catch back to camp. The meat is roasted directly over glowing coals, while the energy-rich fat is especially treasured for helping sustain the body during long journeys. According to Hadzabe tradition, the reward never belongs solely to the hunter who made the successful shot. The meat is shared equally among the families, ensuring that both the elderly and the children receive their portion. It is the spirit of sharing that has enabled this small community to survive countless droughts and the harsh challenges of nature across many generations. As the sun gradually disappears beyond the horizon, the hunters gather around the campfire, recounting their encounters with crocodiles beneath the water and lions across the savannah, passing their knowledge on to the younger generation. For the Hadzabe, every hunt is more than a search for food. It is a lesson in patience, courage, and the ability to adapt to nature. These enduring values have allowed them to preserve their ancient way of life in the wild heart of Africa. To this day,
As dawn spread across the low hills surrounding Lake Eyasi, the Tanzanian savanna slowly emerged beneath the soft golden light. At the camp, the hunters woke one by one, stepped out of their huts, and gathered around the fire still smoldering from the night before. They checked the tension of their bowstrings, selected each arrow, sharpened their small knives, and neatly coiled the ropes used to carry their catch. After studying the wind and discussing the tracks recently found near camp, the group decided to head toward the grasslands bordering the bush. Before long, they quietly left the camp and followed a narrow trail through the acacia trees as birds and other wild animals began searching for food. When they reached an area covered in thick, tall grass, the lead hunter suddenly raised his hand and signaled everyone to stop. Ahead of them, a leopard lay low against the ground, nearly blending into the dry grass. Not far away, a small herd of antelope moved calmly through the bushes, unaware of the danger nearby. The leopard crept forward patiently, using mounds of earth and fallen tree trunks to hide its body. Once it had closed the distance, it suddenly charged, sending the entire herd scattering in panic. After traveling a little farther, the group discovered several large tracks pressed deeply into the soft ground near a drying waterhole. The tracks led them into an area of thick brush, where 3 male lions were quietly watching a herd of antelope on the other side of the grassland. One lion slowly moved forward, stopping each time the antelope lifted their heads to look around. When several animals separated from the herd, it suddenly accelerated and burst through the dry grass. The antelope fled in every direction, kicking up a cloud of dust across the savanna. The presence of the lions made the hunters realize the area was still dangerous, forcing them to change their route. After circling around a low rocky ridge, the hunters spotted another herd of antelope gathered near a shallow depression that still held some water. Using the wind and dense bushes as cover, they moved closer without making a sound. One hunter slowly crawled forward, stopped behind a tree trunk, and carefully raised his bow. When an antelope stepped away from the herd and approached the water's edge, he drew the string and released an arrow toward the target. The animal immediately ran into the brush, but its tracks and the bent grass allowed the group to keep following it. After searching carefully for some time, they found the antelope lying beneath a tree and quickly prepared the ropes needed to carry it back. The antelope was tied securely to a long wooden pole, so 2 men could take turns carrying it across the uneven terrain. On the way back, the group moved slowly and often stopped to listen for sounds coming from the surrounding bushes. They knew the scent of the catch could attract hyenas, leopards, or other predators hiding nearby. As the sun began to sink toward the west, the roofs of the camp finally appeared beyond the trees. Those who had stayed behind quickly came out to help carry the antelope to the preparation area. Some gathered firewood and water, while others arranged the tools needed for the meal. A large fire was quickly built in the center of the camp, casting a warm glow as afternoon faded into evening. The antelope was cleaned and divided into suitable portions. Then the meat was placed in a pot or roasted on sturdy branches above the glowing coals. The smell of food drifted through the camp, drawing children and other members who had just returned from gathering. Once everything was ready, the entire community sat around the fire and shared the meal. As they ate, the hunters described their encounters with the leopard and lions, along with the journey of tracking their catch. These stories not only helped everyone understand the savannah better, but also pass down lessons about staying calm, observing carefully, and always working together. Voices carried through the night, bringing a long day to a close with sharing and unity.
Across Tanzania's vast grasslands, the Hadza live in small groups scattered through the wilderness. They own few possessions, and their lives are not divided into working hours and leisure time as in modern society. In the morning, they may hunt together or gather wild fruit. After returning, they light a fire, prepare food, and sit together as the sun sets. Children play nearby while adults talk and repair their bows and arrows. Every activity takes place naturally within the same shared space. Perhaps the Hadza's sense of freedom comes not from owning little, but from the way every part of life remains closely connected. This close-knit way of life is clearly seen in their search for honey. Early in the morning, the group follows the buzzing of bees to find hives hidden in tall, old trees. With no ladder available, they create their own climbing route from strong branches. One person cuts holes into the trunk, while the others prepare wooden pegs and drive them in one by one to form secure footholds. Near the hive, they burn dry grass and gently direct the smoke inside, causing the bees to leave briefly. The honey-filled combs are then carefully lowered to the ground. Their sweetness rewards patience and teamwork, but more importantly, the honey is taken back and shared with everyone at camp. Moving deeper into the forest, the Hadza hunt officially begins. They do not hurry but repeatedly bend down to study fresh tracks. Soon, they notice several porcupine quills near the entrance of a burrow and conclude that one is hiding below. Porcupines often retreat deeper underground when threatened, while their sharp quills make close contact risky. The lead hunter waits patiently at the entrance. When an unusual movement suddenly appears, they shoot an arrow forward. The animal rushes toward the bushes, and the group immediately spreads out, following the sound of moving leaves. After searching for some time, they find the porcupine curled up in thick vegetation beside a narrow gap in the ground. The hunt succeeds through skilled tracking and coordinated teamwork. After tracking the porcupine, the group finds water just as everyone is growing tired. The Hadza stop at the edge, wash the dust from their faces, hands, and feet, and wet their hair to ease the heat. Contrary to common assumptions about hunter-gatherer communities, they do not neglect personal cleanliness. Whenever they find water, they use the opportunity to cool down and recover after a long journey. Experience, however, keeps them cautious. Some clear sources are safe to drink, while other pools should only be used for washing. In this dry, hot land, every water source is valuable. Knowing how to use it correctly restores their strength and helps them avoid unnecessary risks. Leaving the water, the Hadza carry the day's catch back to camp before dark. First, they carefully remove each sharp quill to avoid injuring their hands. Large, undamaged quills are gathered and stored because they can be used as decorations or materials for handicrafts. The meat is then cleaned and divided for different cooking methods. Beside the fire, a man turns pieces of meat over the glowing coals, while a group of women prepares a large pot to simmer the rest. Some add firewood, others bring water or watch the children, and everyone contributes in their own way. The camp becomes lively yet remains natural and familiar. This practiced cooperation turns even a simple meal into a moment of abundance for the whole community. The story of the Hadza shows that people can still live very differently in the age of technology. They store little, produce little waste, and use only what nature provides, from roots and wild fruit to hunted animals. Time is measured not by clocks, but by daylight, the dry and rainy seasons, and the positions of the stars. Although the outside world has changed over thousands of years, this community continues to endure through ancient knowledge, adaptability, and a deep connection to the land around them.
At dawn, soft light gradually spreads across the African savanna and its scattered woodlands. In the distance, vast grasslands slowly brighten beneath the first rays of sunlight, while many wild animals begin moving in search of food. At the camp, the tribal hunters also wake early to prepare for the day's hunt. They carefully inspect their bows, knives, ropes, and arrows, making sure every piece of equipment is ready for use. After completing all preparations, the group quietly leaves the camp and heads into the vast savanna, beginning another hunting journey in the African wilderness. The tribal hunters cross wide grasslands and sparse forests, carefully following the footprints of large animals impressed in the ground. Before long, they spot a lion resting on the open savanna. The group quickly finds concealed positions and patiently observes it from a safe distance. After a while, the lion slowly rises, silently walks through the tall grass, and suddenly bursts into a sprint to hunt. Following a brief chase, it quickly brings down its prey and begins feeding. The hunters continue waiting until the lion finally leaves the area before quietly moving in to prepare for their own hunt. Using the bushes and small earthen mounds as cover, the hunters silently reduce the distance between themselves and the lion. As soon as the animal enters shooting range, the first arrow is released. Wounded, the lion immediately roars and charges straight toward the hunters. The men quickly scatter in different directions, maintaining a safe distance while repeatedly firing additional arrows. Although the lion continues its attack, its speed gradually slows as more arrows strike its body. After a fierce struggle, it finally loses strength and collapses on the savanna. The hunters quickly move in and completely secure their first trophy of the day. After finishing the hunt, the tribal group returns to the camp before the sun climbs high into the sky. Everyone quickly builds a fire in the center of the camp to prepare a meal. Others clean the freshly hunted meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, place it into a pot with water, and cook it over the fire. While waiting for the meat to cook, they take turns watching the pot and keeping the fire burning steadily. The aroma of hot food soon spreads throughout the camp. Once the meal is ready, the group gathers together and enjoys the food to recover after the first hunt. Following a short rest, they check their bows and arrows again and prepare for the next hunt. Leaving the camp once more, the tribal hunters head back into the sparse woodland in search of another animal. Before long, they discover an African civet slowly searching for food beneath low bushes. Using the dense vegetation as cover, the hunters silently spread out and approach from several directions without alerting the animal. When they are close enough, an arrow is quickly released and strikes the target. The hunters immediately rush toward the spot, following the remaining tracks left by the wounded animal. After only a short distance, they find the civet lying beneath the bushes and quickly secure it. The group then carries the new trophy back to the camp. Back at the camp, the tribe begins preparing a meal from a freshly hunted African civet. More firewood is added to the fire, while some members mix flour with water in a clay pot, stirring continuously until it thickens into a porridge-like dish. Meanwhile, the meat is cleaned, cut into bite-sized pieces, and placed into another clay pot to cook thoroughly. Once everything is ready, the tribe gathers together to enjoy a hot meal after their second hunt of the day. Everyone focuses on eating and restoring their strength after a long day of traveling and hunting across the savannah. As the sun slowly disappears beyond the horizon, another day in the African wilderness comes peacefully to an end. The Hadzabe live a simple life in the heart of the wilderness. They do not store large supplies of food or build permanent homes, rely instead on hunting and gathering for survival. Everyone in the community has a role to play, from searching for food and caring for the children to preparing for the next hunt. Whenever someone catches an animal or discovers a source of food, the reward does not belong to that person alone. It is brought back and shared with the entire group. This spirit of unity, mutual support, and shared success has helped the Hadzabe endure for generations in one of the world's most demanding environments. As morning begins, the Hadzabe men sit together to prepare their bows and arrows for the hunt. They pick up each arrow shaft, carefully running a knife along the wood before using their mouths to straighten it. Every movement is slow and precise because even the slightest bend could send an arrow off course. Their bows are decorated with hand-wrapped bindings and carefully crafted details that make them both sturdy and comfortable to hold. The arrowheads are sharpened to fine points, while the bowstrings require considerable strength to draw. Once everything is ready, the hunters test their bows one final time before heading into the wilderness. With their equipment prepared, the hunters leave camp and follow narrow trails across the savannah. The morning air is still cool, but heat is already beginning to rise from the ground. They move slowly, watching for branches that have recently shifted, fresh tracks in the sand, and patches of grass that have been disturbed. The signs clearly indicate that an animal passed through the area only a short time earlier. Suddenly, one of the hunters spots a troop of monkeys sitting on low branches, busily searching for food. The group immediately crouches down and quietly spreads out. Several hunters remain in front, while the others carefully circle around both sides to block the possible escape routes. Sensing danger, one of the monkeys immediately leaps away from the tree and moves toward a safer position. The hunters give chase, tracking its direction while gradually tightening the circle around it. The animal repeatedly changes course, jumping between trees and searching for a way to escape. However, the hunter's well-coordinated movements steadily reduce the space around it. The moment the monkey lets down its guard, one hunter quickly takes up a favorable position, draws his bow, and sends an arrow accurately toward the target. The pursuit ends soon afterward, as the monkey has been struck by a poison-tipped arrow prepared in advance. It is the first successful catch of the day, and the group takes pride in the patience and teamwork that made it possible. While surveying the surrounding area, the hunters suddenly hear faint sounds coming from a nearby rock crevice. Realizing that an animal is hiding inside, they immediately move closer to investigate. Several men use long branches to probe the opening, while the others stand around it to block every possible exit. After waiting patiently for some time, they discover that the trap has caught a squirrel attempting to escape. The hunt quickly ends in success, providing the group with another catch and adding to their food supply for the day's journey. After a long day crossing the savannah, the hunters finally return to camp carrying the animals they have caught. Everyone quickly takes on a task. Some clean and prepare the food, while others gather dry branches and build a fire. The meat is then placed over the flames and cooked in the simple, familiar way they have always used. As the aroma spreads through the camp, children and other members of the community gather around the fire. No hunter keeps his catch for himself because every reward is shared fairly among the entire group. The communal meal not only helps everyone regain their strength after the demanding journey, but also reflects a unity that has sustained the Hadzabe way of life. The Hadzabe do not see themselves as the owners of the land, but as one small part of nature's vast cycle. They hunt only what they need to survive, take only what they can use, and understand that greed can destroy the balance that has supported their community for thousands of years. Their philosophy is remarkably simple. Survival does not mean conquering nature, but learning to listen to it, adapt to it, and live in harmony with it. In a world increasingly driven by material possessions, their way of life reminds us that true wealth can sometimes be as simple as having a community to return to, a meal to share, and a natural world preserved for generations to come.